Listen, you know what time it is. It's time for another episode of your favorite podcast entitled We Hate You Internet. All right, gather around once again. Look, we back in this thing. You know what it is, man. This is We Hate You Internet. It's a podcast designed to bring awareness on the problematic effects of the internet on our lives, as well as celebrate the beautiful simplicity of our humanity. Okay, I'm your host, Wilford Hamilton, and yes, I know it has been quite some time since we've seen each other, man. But I gotta explain. You know what I'm saying? It's been a lot going on, man. Because I was sick for like a week, man. I had a virus developed in my neck. I was out there looking like Robotron. You know what I'm saying? Struggling in the streets. I mean, it's just. And then I've been in the process of trying to find another studio, right? Because we are now in my home and recording this stuff. But like, it's we trying to keep the content going, but like this is not the design, so we got to try to figure out something different. Right in the next room, I got kids trying to play and all that kind of stuff. I got my wife in the next room, waiting for me to come in and snuggle and all that kind of stuff because she liked me. And so how can a man work under these conditions? And so, so in the process, I mean, I thought we got something. We got the ball rolling with a few developments. So keep your eyes open and ears open for that. Should be within the next couple of weeks we should be moving into a new spot, and then we can continue to bring you quality content in the way that it was designed to bring it to you. So bear with us, you know what I mean? But like I said, there is no excuse. I do need to be better at putting this content out, and I vow to do so moving forward. So I don't want to waste a whole lot of time. I just want to thank everybody for continuing to support the platform, people that have continued to stream and listen to the podcast. Thank you so much. We want to keep this ball rolling. So anyway, without further ado, today's episode, right? I want to start a series actually of episodes. We're going to be entitling I Hate the Comment Section. Now, for those that are the OGs around here that have been on the show for quite some time, you know that when we use the word hate, it's not literal hate. It's more of a satirical or a sarcastic hate. In this situation, this usage is no different. We don't actually hate the comment section. The comment section is actually pretty entertaining. I love reading comments. But I do see issues that arise from if you're not reading the comment section with the proper lens. And so, like, as I do, and most people do, combing through the comments and reading things, I started seeing some of these discrepancies, and it kind of made me think, like the comment section can be a really dangerous place. You know what I mean? Like, I hate the comment section. And so, for today, the first lesson or first topic, as far as in this series, we're going to be talking about race war, the race war. And this is, I really trying to figure out how I want to attack, how I want to deal with this, because it's so much. When you start talking about, conflict between races, typically that always boils down to white versus, you know what I'm saying? Like white versus black, white versus Hispanic, white versus A, whatever. I mean, of course, it works. The minority groups also have they have their sticks and torches in hand sometimes against each other. So, and I want to just start off the rip, right? Like, I'm not a racist person. I see all people the same. I think that cultures are different. I think that people's history is different. I don't, I'm not oblivious to that fact. And so I'm a realist about things. I'm not like, cool, hold hands, everybody sing kumbaya. Like I'm not that kind of guy. Like I said, I'm a realist. But at the end of the day, I believe that everybody, regardless of skin, is just a human being. You know what I mean? And honestly, I think that all of us are dealing with the same things, have the same fears, have the same issues. I just think that because of our culture, the cultural differences, it brings out these differences or these things that we're feeling, the challenges that we're facing. They manifest themselves in different ways. That's what I honestly believe. Your socioeconomic background and standings and things of that nature will affect the way that the pressure that you feel is manifested. You know what I mean? The cultural norms that you experience, like within your culture group, that will affect the way that your obstacles and your challenges and the way that you address and deal with those and cope with those challenges, it changes the way that they manifest. That's, what I believe. And so as I talk about this, what I mean? Like it's not with like I'm not talking about it from one angle or another or from one vantage point or, what I mean? Like, I'm not leaning on one side or am I supporting one side or the other. Like that's irrelevant to me, honestly. This is really just about gaining understanding and perspective, like everything that we do on this show. And so, I want to start from ideological perspective of like the concept of this coming race war. Everybody be talking in the comment section. It's really been accelerated by the the recent election. Donald Trump reelected as president, 45 and 47. Yeah, I'm not. I don't have a car. I don't have a horse in the race, so I don't care one way or the other. The truth of the matter is, all those cats, they all part of the same country clubs anyway, and all went to college together and all that. So but anyway, that's not the topic. Maybe for another day. Um, there's a concept as far as that is kind of the root of this idea about this race war, this coming race war. Um, it stems from the fear or concern of what really like neo-Nazi and like white supremacists. That's kind of the concept, and I wouldn't even necessarily say it's purely just radical ideology so much as it's tapped into fear. It's the fear that's being tapped into that ignites this concern. And hey man, anyway, it's the idea of the great replacement. That is the core idea behind that fuels this idea of a war between races. And basically the concept is that Western white society is under attack and they are being replaced by non-white people. As you see the population spikes in other minority groups, things of that nature, like basically the concept of that, white America will no longer be white America. Basically, you know what I mean? Like, as they continue to mix races and, having mixed children, all this kind of stuff, like they're becoming genetically obsolete. Tough saying, but, once again, so, and that's the fear. Like, you no longer have your heritage and your culture won't survive, and that's tapped into this fear amongst white people. I mean, and I would say a small group of white people. Though I think that it may be, I think the fear or the concern is a little more widespread than people would actually say. And if you're thinking about it from a genetic perspective, I mean, I could see the concern if we're just being realistic, right? And so, but anyway, uh, that is the ideology that drives this movement. So then there's a 180-page manifesto that was written by actually a mass shooter in New Zealand. Came up with this concept, but it's a concept that's been bounced around and kind of spread around and like uh, radicalized white circles. You know what I mean? And it's basically talking about the idea of accelerationism, right? Which is basically the concept that they said they believe that this conflict or this replacement is happening, right? And the only way that we can get out in front of it is if and that or that movement or this idea of being replaced is being covered by society, or the piece of society is the cloak that's being used to hide the fact that this movement is happening, right? And so they believe that in order for them to survive, they have to get out in front of it, which means that you have to pull the curtain back, which ultimately means, like say, you have to accelerate conflict. You have to create conflict in order for the system to break down so that you can uh, uh, conquer, you know what I mean, like uh, gain victory and then reset things in the way that you need to reset. It's the basic concept of rebellion, victory, and then the victor gets to rewrite history, basically. That's the general concept. And so they want to gain power so that they can escape extermination. That is the ideology. You know what I mean? Of course, if you think about how how that, if you're driven by that kind of radical idea, that can make you believe and do some pretty crazy things, which a lot of, like some of the mass shootings that have been racially motivated in the United States have had, it's been based on this ideology. People going and shooting black people at the market, in Buffalo, and, people going to, kill, black people in churches in Alabama. And like, it's a lot of this stuff is fueled by this ideology, this coming conflict amongst, and white people have to fight for their survival. You know what I mean? And it's really crazy. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to kind of, so that was the first thing I wanted to kind of lay that out, and just kind of like help people understand kind of where this stuff is coming from. The next thing I want to do is kind of like debunk some of the fears and the concerns and the thought process about such a movement, right? There's a lot of obstacles that come if you try to have a real race war in 2024. I talk to my kids about this. My son, he does a lot of studying and researching about a lot of different things. He's a really intelligent kid. And so he does a lot of research on history and, military stuff, and, the constructive cultures and all this kind of stuff. He's like, and, he's really into that kind of stuff. And sometimes his research, disturbs his spirit a little bit. He gets a little concerned about things, and, things he sees and things that are pointed out. And we have to have a conversation, just kind of bring it back, bring it back down to earth. I'm not saying that there are no concerns, but you got to really think and analyze the situation from a realistic perspective. And so, the idea that, oh man, you're gonna have just people, white people and black people shooting each other in the street, and white people going around with their hunting rifles and just riding up and down the streets of America and shooting non-white people, like that's a crazy concept. First, here go a couple of obstacles that you're gonna run into in order for such things to exist, right? So first thing you need to understand, there are 53 registered, and I say registered because people identify as, that 59.3% of the American population identifies as white. Now, you got some people that, have put white on their board. They may be Hispanic, they may be, you know, something else mixed with something, but they just may mark white. So, you really don't know how many people are actually pure, white people, number one. Number two, of that 59.3%, you are talking about 41.7% is non-white. You need to really understand, like, it's north of 300 million people in America. And I want you to make sure that you understand these numbers and the concept of these numbers, right? You're talking about 40% of the American population is non-white. They're not white people. So if you have a war between white and non-white, and if you were to assume that the idea is to exterminate anybody, or eliminate anybody that's non-white, right? You're talking about killing 40% of your population. Now you got to really just wrap your mind around that. If you eliminate 40% of your population, you will completely destabilize your whole country. Your whole nation will become totally destabilized. Now you say, well, then that's kind of the idea. That way we can rebuild it. But then what do you think your enemies are going to be doing? The enemies of America, what do you think they're going to do as you just chop off the legs of your nation? What do you think? Like, how many jobs, how many businesses will go out of business if there are no, all non-white people are eliminated? Any job held by a non-white person will go away. You don't have enough white people to replace all those jobs. Like stores, grocery stores, listen, like food, transportation, like your whole system is going to shut down if 40% of your population is eliminated. So these are things you got to really think about. Say, man, if you're going to really have like a legitimate race war, like civil war, that's one. Two, and then on top of that, of that 59.3% that identify as white, how many of those people are actually radicalized? It's a very small group of people. It's not going to be the majority of those people are going to be like, yeah, let's go fight and be bloody in the street. No, it's a very small number of people that are radicalized enough to even believe such a thing, number one. Number two, it's an even smaller group that are actually equipped and capable of actually pulling something like that off. Actually going out and actually killing somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, the idea is just, it's a radical idea, and it's going to stay a radical idea. It would never be the path. Now, did that stop a few people from doing radical things? No. But to have a full-blown civil war in 2024, not going to happen. Listen, I was telling my son, I'm like, listen, people People can't even sit through the ads on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? How you think they're gonna maintain the focus to have a years long war between millions of people? Who gonna organize those kind of people? People can't even like walk and keep their eyes on the road. They too busy watching on social media. These are your soldiers? You know what I'm saying? People don't even take care of their bodies well enough. These are people gonna have sleeping outside in tents as they preparing for battle. You know what I mean? Like, you got to really think about this stuff. You know what I mean? So this idea of like they're gonna have just bloody war in the street, no, it's no. You know what I mean? The whole idea is just totally unrealistic, impossible. Uh, that's just a few things I want to you point out. You know what I mean? And then like I said, what are you gonna do with the white people that don't agree? You gonna kill them too? Now you're talking about an even bigger hit on your population. We're gonna send them off. How you gonna do? How you gonna deport that many people? They gonna just sit back and let you do these things? Like, you know what I mean? Like, crazy concept, right? So I just want to kind of deal with that, and so much more can be said about all of that, and maybe at another time we'll kind of touch on it again because it's something that's an idea that's that floats around on the internet. But yeah, I think that's enough of that. So the second part I wanted to get into, I wanted to talk about just the radicalization itself and how the internet and the comment section plays a part of that. You look at, you look. I remember just kind of looking on Twitter, and you look, and there's like different areas. It's like Twitter is, or social media period is kind of like a city, and like you got a north side, a south side, east and west, right? And you have different cultures on each side of town, same city, but it's you have different people, different you may have black people that live on this side and Hispanic people live on that side, and like it's like that, and it's like that on social media also. You have people that hang out in this area, and you have thousands of posts and comments, millions of posts and comments that exist on this side, and if you don't actually go on that side of social media, you don't even see that stuff. And then you on the other side, it may be like Black Twitter and it's all this kind of stuff, and it's like, you know, uh, adult humor and kids, so all this stuff is kind of separated in its own little burrows, so to speak, you know. Uh, and I kind of move around, kind of like I like learning about people and what people are thinking and stuff like that. But but once you start kind of getting into that area, you start seeing how racist people's comments are, and sometimes they kind of meet in the middle. You start seeing this conflict of ideology, you know what I'm saying, and you start seeing these cross comments. You know what I mean? You see people posting stuff about young black people fighting. They're like, see, they're genetically disposed for violence, and like it's that kind of, yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. And it's like if it was a white person, it was like blah, blah. And it's the same, and I don't, in black, it's the same thing on the black side. Like, oh, they see a white person do anything like, you know, unjust or whatever, and they only have the full context of the video. They automatically assume that white people are racist and like they racist, see, blah blah. But that, and both sides is improper and unbalanced judgment is what it is. Because at the end of the day, it's still just because it's bad white people and bad black people. You know what I'm saying? Like it's violent white people and violent black people. Like, because all of us are human beings. It's good and bad in every flavor and color under the sun. So to look at as one example, somebody doing something bad and say all or bad, like it don't matter what color you judging is wrong, and it's ignorant if we just being honest. You know what I'm saying? And so, but when you start looking in these comment sections, you start seeing how if you get caught in that side or that neighborhood, that borough, then it's really easy for you to become radicalized because you see the same images over in these comment sections explaining this image that you're seeing, and it's really easy for those thoughts to start becoming embedded in your heart, and it starts to shape your view of the world. And before you know it, you're completely radicalized, and you like, yo, man, yeah, they making a lot of sense, blah 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 blah. And it's like, no, man, you talking about foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Like, you tripping. You done bought into some foolishness. You know what I mean? And that's really easy to do in the comment sections of these social media apps. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the part that like is really concerning. You know what I mean? Like, um, people, um, and you see the same kind of comments from different people, and I use quotations because I'm gonna talk about that later. Like, and you start to think that this is the consensus feeling of society. That like, yeah, this is the thought process. Like everybody think this way. Like, no, man. Like, it's just the neighborhood you in. It's the side of the tracks that you on. They tripping in this little small on that street. They be tripping. Like, It's not the rest of the world, and the rest of the city is not thinking like this. They're not functioning like this. You know what I mean? And so that is the real danger of of this racial ideology is the radicalization and how easy it is to be radicalized in this digital era and under these digital platforms. The exchange of information is so free. It's like the wild wild west. You know what I mean? There is no control over how people express their thoughts. And because of the way that the algorithm works, it kind of steers you into a certain lane. It's really easy for you to continue to be radicalized, and then that radicalization be reinforced time and time and time again as you go down this stream of content. And it's there's nothing you can really do about that, because you feed the algorithm. The algorithm is giving you what you like. If you spend more time watching this kind of video, because you're watching the scene of the violence, and it starts to feed you more and more and more. And then you go look in the comments, it's gonna start feeding you more posts that have comments like that. Like that's how it goes. And so, you know, you that's something that you gotta be very, very mindful of. Um, the last thing that I would say as we start trying to wrap this thing up a little bit, what can we do, or what can you do to, you know, spare yourself from the radicalization, right? And what I would say is that you're going to take one step back. A lot of the stuff that we talk about is the same stuff over and over, because it's just the it's just the answer. It's always going to revolve around like taking a step back and coming back to reality. I want to say a few things right now about the comment section. People may not be aware, but there are a lot of comments that are artificially created. And what I mean by that is that it's like bots, like AI is posting in the comment section, posing as people. It's practicing communicating as a human being. Like probably half the post has to. I wouldn't say half. I would say, eh, I mean, let's just give it a modest number. Let's say 30% of the comments that you see in a comment section are probably not by real people. And that may be like a shock and crazy, but you got to understand, we talk about this AI stuff all the time. Like, you have to understand that this AI is being trained. And what do you think they're being trained at? It's being trained to act like real people amongst real people. You know what I mean? Like, it's learning how to communicate like a human being by studying comments and posts and different things. And then it's gonna come back, it's gonna come in and post and seeing if it can comment and post like a real person. Like, it's wild, but that's what you're dealing with. But I think that's really important that you understand that every comment that you read is not by a real person. The next thing that you should understand is that even the comments by real people are not like that person's actual real thoughts, or like how they actually function in real life. They may comment something crazy because they behind a screen. They can say what they want to say and nobody can see their real face. You could find a profile pic that may not even that's probably not who that person actually who really is. Like, you could be like, I'm almost positive you have white people that take a profile pic of a black person or a black woman and then comment crazy stuff under the guise that it's a black woman. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. There are black people that have profile pictures of white people and they're commenting crazy stuff posing as a white person, and they're inciting this like, anger and angst, you know what I'm saying, in the comment section, like just for fun. You know what I mean? Like, or they have their own radical ideas, and they're hiding them behind these fake profile pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this happens all the time. And so you have to take everything that you read online, you need to take it with a grain of salt and take a step back and realize, if nothing else, that this could be fake. This may not be true. You know what I'm saying? Like, so don't jump head first, like, you know what I mean? Like, head first into this stuff. Like, it's totally true. Like, no. You know what I mean? It's no different than, a person, I always kind of take it back to like the street, because, I have a little bit of experience. Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't necessarily run it in the streets per se, but I was like proxy, adjacent. So, but like, you have people, and anybody can relate to this. Like, you have people that'll talk real heavy, real big, when ain't nobody listening. You know what I'm saying? Behind somebody back, man, oh, whoop, blah, 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 blah. But then when blah, blah, when so-and-so come around, they friendly. They the nicest person in the world. They Mr. Rogers. You know what I'm saying? Because they really not built like that. They just talking trash because they want to appear tough. They want to appear like I'm with that. But you not really with it. You know what I'm saying? Like you just pretending. You know, it's the same thing in like business or anything else. People talk a really big game, but in reality, they are small fish. They not really like that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's the same way in the comment section, or even more so in the comment section, because they don't have to face anyone. You know, you can be whoever you want to be in the comment section. You can say whatever you want to say in the comment section. Nobody's gonna know who you really are. You can hide behind the veil of technology. And so you have to make sure that you keep track of that, so to not allow yourself to be taken away in this radical environment. You know what I mean? Like, take a step back and really to think about what is being said. And remember, like, people are people, man. People are limited. It don't matter whether you're the richest man in the world or the poorest. Like, you always gonna be limited. Yeah, you have resources, you can get more things done, but you always gonna be limited in what you can do, because human beings by design are limited creatures. You see what I'm saying? So you know, people have all kind of crazy ideas, but like some stuff just ain't gonna fly because it just ain't gonna work, and that's just what it is. And so if you find yourself being concerned about upcoming race war and all that, listen, relax. Like, it ain't going down like that. Do you need to watch your back around certain environment situations? Sure, that goes for anything. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but I wouldn't be, you know, getting my military uniform pressed anytime soon and preparing yourself for battle, because, you know, it's like I said, you know, cats, you know, people don't even go outside and play no more. Like, who gonna go outside and stand for hours getting themselves in a raid to go try to do battle in the streets? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like 1970s like gang war turf type. Ain't nobody getting down like that. And it ain't gonna be just no one day. Yeah, if it was one day, maybe. But you know, a campaign like that gonna take years, months, years. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody finna be killing people for that long. Like, cats ain't built like that. They got video games to play. They ain't got time for that. That's it for today. I forgot to tell you at the beginning, please subscribe to the show. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you press follow on the audio side. Press follow, leave a review. You know, leave some comments, hit the notification bell, all that jazz. Y'all know what to do. Y'all been listening and watching this stuff for a decade, over a decade now. Y'all know what to do. Do this. Help the platform. It's good stuff. And I know you enjoyed the content. So please leave a comment in the comment section about what your thoughts were. The Facebook group, please. Go on Facebook, look at hashtag Stay Human. We got some great stuff coming inside the program to get to further the conversation as far as how we can stay human, right? I'm gonna leave you like we always do. That's enough for you, man. I didn't talk enough. But I ask that you stay safe, stay blessed, and please, please stay human. Yeah.